Good Friday afternoon. It is 3:20 Eastern Time on the East Coast here on Friday, the 4th of September. It is our last show. We are not going live on Monday. You might not see us till Wednesday. Um, I don't know exactly. Maybe might do something on Monday. I'm not sure exactly. Wasn't planning on it at least. Um, so I don't know exactly though. But we're going to get into some results from the football games last night. So UAB won 45-35 over Central Arkansas. So that's one right prediction for me. Gonna pull up the other ones and see if I got the other game right between South Alabama and Southern Mississippi, which South Alabama won 32-21. So let's see. I had the opposite results, so I am 1-1 already in predictions. So, you can't always get them right, but so Saturday we have games starting at 1 o'clock on ESPN, 1:30 on CBS Sport Network, 4:30 on ESPN. ESPN3 we have a 7:30 game, 8, and then 9 on ESPN3. And Monday night we have 8 o'clock between BYU and Navy. So that's the rest of your games. You can always check that on the ESPN app or wherever you get your news for sports besides me. I got my copy of 2K21 today. I ordered the Mamba Forever edition. I pre-ordered it and I got it. It came with a code to actually get the standard edition on PlayStation 5 if I were to get that. So that's cool. So basically, I bought the deluxe version of the PlayStation 4 version and also bought the standard version of the PlayStation 5 version, which I thought was, interesting. Basically, bought two games for the price of deluxe version. But we're going to get started. So we're going to start with the NCAA. Let's see. On Monday, Nick Saban led his players in a march through the Tuscaloosa campus to influence social justice changes. And then Tuesday, Trump talked with the Big Ten to help start the conference getting back in play. He's trying to give them everything they need. There was talks that we might hear today that they might come back. If we don't hear anything by the end of today, we probably won't hear anything till Tuesday or Wednesday. So this is a big thing if they're going to come back and play. Big East women's basketball tournament is going to return to the Mohegan Sun in Connecticut for the next 3 seasons. Now that UConn is back in the Big East, they're going to be hosting the women's basketball tournament for at least the next 3 seasons. Georgia or Wake Forest who transferred to the University of Georgia, Jamie Newman, has the quarterback has opted out of the season and is not to enter the draft early. It's interesting to see, especially since they are playing. They would have played at Wake Forest. He would have played at Georgia. It's interesting to see that he's just opting out. Literally just weeks before the season's starting. I know the SEC is the last conference to kick off. They don't kick off till the end of September because they're playing strictly conference only. But it's interesting to see that happening. And then nearly half of all Power 5 schools won't disclose their COVID-19 testing data, which is interesting. Figured they might. That way we know, but it's also interesting it's also, something that we figured they probably wouldn't because of that. Because we probably wouldn't want them to know exactly how many people are getting it because we don't want them being worried. Dabo Sweeney, Clemson's head coach, says he doesn't want college football playoff to wait for Big Ten or Pac-12 to catch up. Basically saying he wants the college football playoff just to do it as normal. If the Big Ten or Pac-12 doesn't play, then do it as is, which, I mean, it's fine. I just think we shouldn't play and just put everything in the spring. Speaking of that, the NCAA's Football Oversight Committee recommended that if you do play in the spring, that the football games would be 8 games, and it must be done before April 17th for all the conferences that postponed for the fall. So we are going to move on to the MLB real quick. There hasn't been that much news. Let's see. Where do I want to start? Giants outfielder Alex Dickerson hit 3 home runs on Tuesday night in the game. He added 2 doubles and 6 RBIs, becoming the 15th player in MLB history with 5 extra base hits in a game. And then, let's see. Marco Ozuna throws up the Wakanda Forever while rounding the bases on one of his trio of blast versus the Red Sox, also on Tuesday evening. So, Mets legend Tom Seaver passed away at the age of 75. The Hall of Famer pitcher died due to complications from Lewy body dementia and COVID-19. He won the '69 World Series with the Mets. That happened Wednesday evening. The A's are going to resume their games versus the Padres starting today after everyone was cleared for testing negative for the virus. So that's good that everyone's been able to go back now. It looks like the cases in the MLB are kind of starting to die down now, which is good. It's just sad that it's been going on this long, though, that we're still this far into the season, even though we're probably at least over the halfway point now into the season. But this is sad to see that we're still having to deal with cases and that we're not, there's still people getting it and everything. And then Trey Turner, Nats shortstop, glided around the bases with ease on his 2-run inside the park home run last night. And that's all I have for the MLB. We're going to go to the NHL real quick. There's only a couple NHL stories, mainly some games that have been happening. I'm going to do some updates on them. The Avalanche scored 5 first-period goals, pushing the series to a Game 6 on Monday night in a 6-3 win over Dallas. The Lightning beat the Bruins 3-2 in double overtime to send Tampa to the conference finals. Also, So there's that. The NHL is also launching a comprehensive plan to fight against racism, including mandatory inclusion and diversity training. And then this was this morning. I did this, but it happened last night. Patrick DeCamp became the third goalie in team history for the Canucks with a shutout when facing elimination as Vancouver downs Vegas 4-0 to extend their series. So we're going to go to the miscellaneous sports real quick and do some stuff. Over the weekend, it was announced that The Rock and his wife and two youngest kids all had COVID and they are recovering from it. But also, besides that, there are new words that have been officially been put in the dictionary with 650 new words, including The Rock's famous word that he would say, jabroni. That it was also made famous by the Iron Sheik. So that coming from the wrestling world. So women's number 1 seed out of U.S. Open. Not going to try and pronounce her name because sounds like she's from Western Europe, so it's kind of harder to say. She lost in straight sets, becoming the third top seed in the Open era to lose in the second round or earlier. In Brazil, they announced that they are now paying the women's team the same as the men's for soccer, which is good. That equal pay is starting to spread, at least into South America. I know it's a big deal over in Europe and parts of, I know athletes in the U.S. are starting to demand equal pay, especially in soccer, because our women's national team is much better than the men's national team in soccer. I have a friend that has been debating this topic for a very long time. And then just about 2 hours ago, Messi announced that he will be staying at Barcelona, ending speculation that he would leave the club after this season. So we're going to do some UFC news. Daniel Cormier, who suffered a torn cornea on August 15th, in his loss, won't need surgery, which is good. Hopefully it heals fast, though, so he can get back to his day-to-day routines. MMA superstar John Jones, who's hoping to move up to the heavyweight division as soon as possible, is hoping to start off his career with a fight against either Stipe Marco, who's the guy that tore Daniel Cormier's cornea in that win over him, or against the newly free agent Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar also became a free agent recently, but he is still stuck in Canada. He can't come into the U.S. and do fights for WWE. He'll most likely re-sign with WWE, though. A welterweight title fight has been determined for UFC 256 on December 12th between Kamaru Usama and Gilbert Burns. UFC President Dana White confirmed to ESPN that there will be a welterweight rematch between George Masvidal and Nate Diaz, and It has been yet to be. It hasn't been confirmed exactly yet, but they're in works with it. So the Contender Series this week has three more winners earning UFC contracts: William Knight, Jimmy Flick, and Ronnie Lawrence will all join the UFC after that. Sorry, I am doing this in the living room and cars just went flying by again. It was announced on late Wednesday night, that Teixeira Santana fight is off due to Teixeira testing positive for COVID-19. The fight was supposed to be next Saturday. On Thursday, it was announced that 4 UFC fighters were suspended for positive drug tests. They'll also be fined. The fighters are Jamal Hill, Tim Elliott, Luis Pena, and Daron Wynn. And then the Michelle Waterson, Angela Hill will replace the previous announced fight that is off due to Teixeira testing positive. They will now be the new headliner for next Saturday's fight night. That's all for the UFC. We're going to move to the NBA, WNBA for some news. There's been more awards announced. Brandon Ingram wins Most Improved Player. He recorded 11 30-point games this season with the Pelicans. He only had 4 in his first 3 seasons with the Lakers. Chicago Sky's Courtney Vandersloot breaks single-game league record with 18 assists in the 100-77 win over the Indiana Fever on Monday night. Oklahoma City forced a Game 7 and a 104-100 win on Monday. So I believe, I'm not 100% sure when that Game 7 is happening. I don't know if it's happened already or if it will be happening. Let me check. Game 7 happened last night, in which Houston won 104-102. I will do the NBA schedule for the upcoming games here in a little bit after we get done. More Chicago Sky records have been set. Ali Quilga, sorry for pronouncing that wrong, most likely, becomes Sky's all-time leading scorer, after putting up 23 points versus Minnesota on Wednesday night. And then yesterday it was announced that Steve Nash signed a 4-year contract to become the next coach of the Brooklyn Nets, which was very shocking around the whole sports world. It is surprising that Nash will become the next coach, seeing that I don't think he was an assistant coach anywhere or coaching anywhere. So we're going to do another award real quick before we do one more news thing from the NBA that's non-player related. John Morant won Rookie of the Year over Zion and Kendrick Nunn from the Heat. or none, not Nolan's, which is very surprising. I think mainly reason why Zion didn't win it is because he was out and it didn't seem like they were going to make the playoffs, which they didn't. And then Hornets broadcaster John Fuqua, who accidentally or whatever, who knows if he accidentally did it, but it would happen, tweeted a racial slur during the Nuggets Jazz game when instead of saying Nuggets, he said the N word. So he has been let go by the Charlotte Hornets. We're going to move on to the NFL now. As asked by, I think it was Dan Snyder himself or someone in the organization by Washington, the NFL is going to oversee the investigation into the Washington football team over alleged sexual harassment in the organization. NFL and NFLPA have also tweaked their COVID-19 protocols to minimize chances of individuals could miss a game because of a false positive. Former Patriots wide receiver, he didn't play much because he ended up getting suspended, but it was Josh Gordon, had sold his Super Bowl 53 ring for $138,000 at auction. Four players and 6 personnel have tested positive out of the 58,621 tests administered during the August 21st, 29th period. This came out on Tuesday in the NFL. Some big contract news from Detroit. Their left tackle, Taylor Decker, who has played at Ohio State and is from the Vandalia area, which is just south of me by like 30 minutes. So I went to high school with a kid from Vandalia. He gets a $85 million contract extension. 37.5 of it is guaranteed as part of a 6-year deal. The Pats released Mohamed Sanu, they traded for him from the Falcons, and the Falcons got a second-round pick just last year. They were talking about this on the Pat McAfee show today, and it was very interesting because, let's see, they had an NBC Sports Boston Patriots insider on, and they were saying he was at the practices and training camp, and they said that the team he wasn't as good as he had been. Excuse me. So that's probably why he got released. The Buccaneers signed former Jags running back Leonard Fournette, not Fortnite. After being waived by the Jags on Monday. That happened Wednesday. So Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott says the anthem protest should be an individual choice. I agree. You shouldn't be forced into it as a team. But he's right. Josh Gordon made more news this week, even though he sold his ring with the Super Bowl from the Patriots. He's going to re-sign with the Seahawks. He'll obviously be out the first half of the season. But then that also, if the Seahawks are going to be trying to make a push to make the playoffs, obviously he'll be there for the last 8. And then if they make the playoffs, he'll be there for the playoffs and hope maybe a Super Bowl run. But he has appealed for reinstatement and everything. It's all pending on that. NFL and NFLPA announced on yesterday morning that all facilities will be closed on election day to ensure everyone can go out and vote. This is really good. This is something that should have happened a long time ago, but that's really good change. The Pats have named Cam Newton starting quarterback and a captain, even though Bill Belichick hasn't officially named him the starting quarterback yet. Ex-employees of the Washington football team want Dan Snyder removed as the owner. Attorney for 20 former employees say the clients want the organization to have accountability and change. I think a lot of people are wanting that. The first step was obviously having the change in the name, but obviously, it needs like a whole overhaul. Maybe this will lead to even a whole new, like, getting rid of the colors with a new name, or maybe moving out of Washington overall. And then it was also announced this morning that Washington released Adrian Peterson, which was strange. Some people are thinking he'll get picked up right away. Pat McAfee was thinking Kansas City Chiefs. So that's it. Trying to think if I have anything else. We're going to check if there was anything that happened while we were live. It doesn't look like it. So make sure you follow us on Instagram. Subscribe, like, comment, notification bell. You know the drill. Have a good and safe holiday weekend if you're in the U.S. And until next time, we'll see you then. Have a good day.